Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. We are going to do a little stash busting. I have a scrapbook layout for you today that would be great for scraps. Well, as you can see, I have a whole pile of scraps here from the Are We There Yet collection, but I am also scrap lifting the very talented Katy Taylor. Some of you may know Katy as Scrappin' Katy. She has fabulous ideas. I always am picking up great little tips from watching her videos, things where I'm always like, well, why didn't I think of that? And this is a really great layout. I was really drawn to it. It's just kind of this collection of like a collage of crafty goodness. And I love the colors, and I thought it was perfect because I actually am working on a travel album, and I have photos of my son here looking out the airplane window, and we're landing in Venice. You can see Venice out the window, and for both my boys, it was their first plane ride, and it was just this really awesome moment because we're like, there it is, we're finally here, and this is actually happening. So Katy is documenting her family on an airplane and happy travels, and it just was like, wow, this is going to be perfect. So she has 3 photos, and those look like 3x4. I only have 2, so we're going to have to do a little improvising, but I love all the layers of pattern paper and just the fun little travel themed icons here. There's the cameras and little tags, lots of goodness. This looks like a pocket. Maybe she has these pocket cards for journaling. It could be a faux pocket. I'm not 100% sure, but I love it. Katy did a fabulous job, and I'm going to create my own version of this today. Whenever you are scrap lifting, you always want to give a shout out to the original creator. You know, we love to find inspiration on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, lots of places we find crafty inspiration. And that's why we share. It's to teach and inspire, but you definitely want to give credit to the original designer. Katy has used, sorry about the glare there, but Katy has used pattern paper in the background and then layered pattern paper to, build up her clusters here. So I also want to use pattern paper, and I think that I'm going to use this one. This was a bonus pattern paper from the Are We There Yet scrapbooking workshop, and I love that it has the little planes on it. That's perfect. So we're going to bring that in, and since I have only 2 photos, we're going to have to get a little bit creative with how we, place these, but I do like them how she has them over here on the right. And maybe we'll do something like that. I might put this one over the top. And I want them on this side because Clayton's looking into the layout there. So it, I've mentioned this before. It's little things like that. You want room in front of the subject. Even when you're taking a photograph, you want room for the subject to move or room for them to look. So that's kind of the same principle with placing your photos on a layout. Katy kind of has 2 titles on her layout. There's the main title, Happy Travels, and then a subtitle, Adventures. And I'm willing to bet that Happy Travels is a pocket card, and it's printed on there, which is super smart. I love using my pocket cards for titles. But let me look and see what I have in my collection to use. From the coordinating sticker sheet, I have this Are We There Yet title, and I think this is going to be perfect because it was a long flight. It was a really long flight. We flew from San Francisco to Lisbon in Portugal, and then had to catch another little plane and fly from Lisbon over to Venice. And I'm going to have to look up the details as far as the total travel time, but it was a long one. So Are We There Yet is definitely a good, appropriate title for this one. So maybe we can do something like that. Katy's got her title up at the top. I like that, and that's going to fit nicely right there. I've thumbed through my scraps here, and I definitely want to use this little pattern paper scrap here with the geotags. I like the luggages. So there's this one, there's one with passports, and on the other side is map paper. And I love the colors because we have a lot of the blues and kind of the, turquoisey colors that are going to go really nicely. So I'm thinking let's use this one, maybe right here underneath, kind of as our main layer. I also have this pocket card, and these are luggage tags, so I thought that that might be kind of fun. We can put that down here for this layer that Katy has in the bottom. Now when you're scrap lifting, it does not have to be the same. It's just a jumping off point, inspiration, just something to get your creative juices flowing and get started. So it doesn't, we may kind of tweak this as this layout comes together here. And I feel like my photos are kind of fading into the background. I want to bring in some of this yellow to make those pop. I cut a little photo mat from Honey Butter because that is a coordinating color in this paper kit. You can see the Honey Butter background on that pattern paper. So let's just frame this or mat this on the Honey Butter and see how that looks. And you know what? I do like it. Let me grab another one here and finish both of the photos off with that nice matte or pop of Honey Butter. And I do think that really helps the photos to stand out from the background. We have a lot of blues going on, and that just gives it a nice pop of color. I really do like this element up top. Even though I already have my title, I still want to bring in another layer behind it and maybe tuck some tags in the top. I've got this was a pocket card, and look, Dave, my cat, stepped on it. Those are Dave paw prints there, so he was there. He'll be part of the layout on the back side. But let's see if we could just tuck this in. I like that it's kind of a city map, which is plays into it because we're looking down on kind of the overview of the city, so that looks neat. I do like that. I'm feeling like we need something over here. We're starting to get off balance. Katy had that third photo here. I could add a journaling spot over here, but I'm kind of wanting this paper to go all the way across, and this pocket card is not going to do that. Let's try some different options. Before I cut these down, I can kind of hold them in place and see. So there's that one with the matte paper, and the colors are beautiful. I do like that option. We also have the passport paper. It's doable. I think I like the matte paper better. A lot of this is just trial and error. Hold it up, see what you like. We've got this luggage paper. Maybe if we trim that down. I kind of like that. It's fun. And since we're traveling, it plays into that. And I like that it brings in all of these colors. Let's cut that down a bit. I cut that to 11 inches, so it would be 11 by 3.5 because that was the width of the paper already. And I do like that. And you know what I'm thinking? Let's mat this whole paper on a tiny little sliver of sapphire. I know that you can't hear. Let me move the Versamat so you can appreciate that a little bit more. Just the teeniest, tiniest little border. I think that's just going to kind of frame that in nicely. So I will pause the camera and cut this down. I'll be right back. I feel like we have the base of our layout complete, so I'm going to bring in some embellishments. I do have this sticker from the coordinating sticker sheet, and I thought that went along nicely with everything. It's going to fit right here. I also have a couple little flags here. There was tons of like tags and little flagged dovetailed pieces in this collection in the scrapbooking workshop, and Katy had a couple cute little flags over here, so I thought, oh, that's going to be cute, and bring in some of that yellow. And then I do want to bring this color up top. And remember how she had the pocket cards kind of sticking out the top there? So I thought that that would look good. We'll use this pocket card that's going to draw that peach color up. And I still need to add my journaling. I could add it down here, a little bit of strip journaling. And what I think I'm going to do is I kind of had a big story to tell about this particular moment and how we felt and how excited we were, even though he doesn't look very excited. He was tired. But that is going to go on this tag, and then I can have the journaling right up here, and then I'll put the details, just landing first view of Venice and then the date, and probably just a couple strips of paper here. I was thinking of bringing in a subtitle like Katy did. I have the Are We There Yet scrapbooking stamp, and there's suitcases, a passport, camera, come away with me, and then our getaway. And you can get this with or without the coordinating thin cuts. So let's go ahead and stamp our getaway. Let me clean up my mess here. I feel like I exploded a little bit in my craft room. You'll need just a little piece of white daisy. I'm going to put my little foam piece right under it since we're just doing a little bit of stamping. And then sapphire ink, because that coordinates along with this collection. And I did already practice a few times inking this up and stamping it to make sure we get a nice crisp impression. So ink that up in your color of choice and then stamp down on your paper. Give it a second to soak in. And we have, or I have, the coordinating thin cuts for this one. So I can die cut that out and get a nice little beveled edge with the die cuts. I love the way these finish it off as opposed to fussy cutting. And also what I like to do, grab a second scrap of paper here and then tape these together so you'll get a little bit of dimension, and you can easily die cut 2 to 3 pieces at once. So we'll just line up our little die cut here, and then I will run this through my die cutting machine. Now we have this nice little, this would be a great title, or in the case we're going to use it here as a subtitle. So I think that's going to look good right there. And again, I'll add just a little bit of strip journaling. Now we also want to create a pocket for this to sit in. I really have gotten into using flip flaps to do that. Ironically, this was actually something I learned from Katy also. So you can just flip flaps, just in case you're new to my channel. They have an adhesive strip that you fold over, and you can adhere these to the outside of your page protector to add more photos, and while keeping the design or journaling. These are awesome. I use them all the time, but they also make great pockets. So this is a 3x4. And this tag is going to sit right down inside there. But I do want it to sit up just a little bit. So, you know, I mean, but it's not going to fall all the way down inside. But this way you can use foam tape, but the pockets just make it so easy. And because it slides nice and easily, they're really convenient and easy to use. I am going to show this in real time because I've used this technique on my channel before, and people have lots of questions. So what I recommend is a very strong double-sided adhesive. You can leave this on the adhesive strip and just peel that off, but I want my pocket like right up flush, and then this would be showing. So what I'm going to do is cut that off, just trim it right across the top there. And then you'll want to adhere double-sided tape to both the front and the back, because this is going to stick to our background layer and this is going to stick to the back side of our pocket card. So there will be only one place for our tag to go. Now this last step is optional. I like to take a tiny little glue dot. Here comes Dave. Dave's going to walk right over our work area. Dave, I'm going to cut your whiskers off. So let me pause the camera and move the cat. Dave's been happily relocated to the chair behind me. So what I like to do is you just need the tiniest little bit of foam and take off both sides of the adhesive, and we're going to squish that into the corner. Now again, this step is totally optional, and I'll explain why I like to do this. Let me get this in here. So squish it all the way into the corner, sticking to my finger. Maybe use a tool to get it in there. Okay, we got one in that corner. We're going to do one in this corner, and it's sticky on the top and bottom. So once you get it into place, it's going to just stick to the foam or the either side of the pocket card. Oh my goodness, either side of the flip flap. See, this is why you try not to talk and teach at the same time. It's easier to do a voiceover. Okay, so that is going to stick right in there. Now what that does is it creates just the tiniest little gap in the top of the pocket card. And now there's no way, because have you ever tried to create a pocket and then you try to tuck your tag in and it's just, you have to use a second hand and maybe pull up on it. This is going to keep that from happening, so it'll slide right in there. I went ahead and paused the camera and added a strip of this super strong red line tape, which is a double-sided adhesive. I'm going to peel it off the front and I'm going to adhere it to the back of this pocket card. So I know we want this right about there, lined up with the edge. So I can just get that into place, and it's only going to stick to the pocket card because I haven't peeled the back side off yet. Okay, so let me just take these apart. Everything's lightly tacked down because I like to dry fit it. So we have that right in there, flush with the top, and then we'll peel this off, and when we're ready, I got to adhere these down, we'll tape that to the back of the layout. So let me go ahead and get these into place. I've gone ahead and adhered those two down, so now we can peel off our double-sided adhesive here. And I've added some adhesive to the back of our pocket card, and we'll just slide this back behind there. Just about there. I think that looks good. Perfect. Now that is going to just slide. It's not going to fall all the way down. You could put something in the bottom or make your tag longer, but that way it's just going to slide right in and out. And look at that. It's just super easy. We could put the rest of our layout back together and finish up the embellishing. I don't need all of this, so I'm going to trim some of that off. And that way we're just going to have that layered. And I should have put that behind the adhesive. What was I thinking? Maybe we'll cut that into a tag. See, look, we even make mistakes too. I cut that into a tag shape, cut it at an angle so it would be a little easier to get behind there, and problem solved. There, I like it. I'm going to add a little bit of ink to the edge of those. I cut this tag with the Tabs and Tags thin cuts. There is one that has like a traditional tag shape, and then one with a more rounded shape like this. And they're always fun for tucking and layering. I just really want that extra little pop of color in there. And we'll ink this one up as well. I do need to add my journaling to this one. And since we're going to be pulling this out, we might as well ink up the whole thing. Sometimes I'll just do the part that's showing, but as I mentioned, since this is coming out, we definitely want the whole thing inked up. This video is actually a collaboration with the creative design team. All week long, we are scrap lifting each other, and it's just so much fun. We've done this a few times. Yesterday, Andrea scrap lifted a layout from Jama, so I will have that linked in the description box below. And stay tuned because every day this week, we're going to have more inspiration and scrap lift fun going on. I do have this little plane. That is actually a Cricut cut, and I wanted to include that. That was left over from another layout, and I can go ahead and get these tacked down here. As I mentioned earlier, when you are scrap lifting someone, you definitely want to give them a shout out like I've done here in my video and mentioned Katy. I'm going to link Katy's channel down in the description box below. And if you're not on YouTube and maybe just sharing something on Instagram, for example, tag their channel or maybe share their page in your stories. It's just such a great way to say thank you for the inspiration. And this is an amazing crafty community, and I just love how we all help each other out. One more cute little sticker right there. I added a little strip journaling here, and I did add the journaling to my tag, but I typically don't add anything to the top, but I did come across this stamp in my stash that has pull and little arrow. It's meant for like interactive cards and whatnot, but these are great. So you can do pull here or just pull, or you can take an alpha stamp and spell out the word pull just as easily, or it can be just kind of a little known treasure for someone to find. And while I was looking for this stamp, I also came across this one that says Lovin right now, and this just has lots of fun things on it, but there was this good friends and great adventures. I was kind of bothered that this was by itself. I wanted to layer something over that. I always keep a bunch of die cut sentiment spots, and I thought I can stamp that on, maybe this, one of these little shapes, either this one. I think I like the circle better. We'll go with the circle. I'm going to stick with a sapphire just to keep it consistent. And we'll grab this little stamp here. Anything that is still available, I will of course leave in the description box below. Some of these may no longer be available or be retired. But we'll just ink this up, and I haven't used this stamp. Let me grab a piece of scratch paper. I am always telling you guys to test it out first, so you definitely want to do that if you're gonna, I mean, I'm not stamping it right on my layout, so I could easily just get another circle. But let's try that again. Make sure you don't have any ink on the outside edges of the block. We're going to square that up in the center. Good friends and great adventures, because we were on this trip with another family, and we can layer it behind or on top. I kind of like it on top. Let's go with that. Do I want pull here or just pull? So many choices. Let's go with pull here. Why not? I've got a smaller block for this one. I'm going to turn that on an angle because it was a little bit longer. Ink that up, and this time we don't want to mess up our tag, so we're definitely going to practice a few times. That's looking good. And we'll just go right there. Perfect. You could put one of the little arrows on there as well with the direction. And then we're just going to slide that right back in our pocket. And that's going to sit like so. I spotted this tiny little scrap of zip strip here. That's the branding strip, and I thought that'll finish off the bottom of the circle nicely. Let me remove my removable glue dots there from my Versamat. Those were holding it in place. And I can hold this up so you can see all the fun details. I really loved how this turned out, and it showcases all of that fun pattern paper. We had room for the story there. And let me scoot this to the side actually, and we'll take a look at Katy's layout again. Thank you, Katy, for this awesome inspiration. I was so glad to do a little stash busting and get this layout done. Don't forget to check back this week. The rest of the creative design team will be sharing their videos, and they also have a new 8.5 by 11 sketchbook out. Check the description box below. It is awesome. If you want to catch the rest of the videos, click this playlist right here on the right. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys here on YouTube very soon.